Welcome to this crash course on Flowbite and Suncel. In this crash course, we will see how to integrate Flowbite UI components in the Suncel Headless CMS and edit these components in a very easy way. Flowbite is an open source library of interactive components built on top of Tailwind CSS. And Suncel is a headless CMS for Next.js applications and websites. In the end of this crash course, you will be able to create your own website, your own landing page or blog, and deploy it on Vercel. Let's dig in. Well, we are here on the Flowbite website, and you can see that in blocks, you will have multiple block sections that you can use for your website. So actually you have in each for each kind of component, you will find a free component, and all those free components are available in the Suncel package where you will find these components now editable in the Suncel CMS. So for example, you will find here in the hero section this component, you will find as well this component, and so you can go further if you want with the pro version. So we don't have this components in the package, but actually if you buy the pro version of Flowbite, then you will be able to make those components editable for your project. Okay, so now what we want to do is to build a website with, let's say, a home page, an article page, and a pricing page. And we will do that only with the Flowbite blocks. So in order to start, we will first create a Suncel project. So here I am on the Suncel application, and let's say we create demo Suncel Flowbite. So you have to define the domain for your application and then select a language. So of course you can create a free plan on Suncel and run your website for free. There is a free plan, and that's what we are doing now. Good. So my project is now created, and I can go to my settings here. So this is my name, and here in my information, so you see that there is my logo here. There is the user as well, so you can add a user to your project, and then you have your API keys, and we will use them in one moment. So let's go to our Visual Studio, and here I will create my project. So you see that you can do that with one command line. I already have an account, so my project name is this, and I want to start the project with Tailwind CSS. Okay, so that's now installing the project, so I can already copy the keys. So you have here a .env.example file, and you can just rename it in .env file, and then you will paste your keys here, the first one and the second one. You save, and that's good. The installation is almost done. Good. Okay. So I go in the good folder, and now I can run npm run dev on the project. And we are on the local host, and that's normal. Here we have a 404 page. Why? Because we have to go in the admin. And here you can see that we now have access to the Suncel CMS. And here you have your dashboard. You can, in pages, you can create a page. You can have pictures and files here in asset. And then the globals, we will see that a bit later. It's like a small database where you can have data, for example, for your layout, for your header or your footer. and other kind of stuff as well. We will talk about that a bit later at the end of the video. So let's create a page, and let's say that we create the home page. So if I leave the slug home, it will be mywebsite.com/home. So I don't want this page to be /home, and I just check is root, and then it will be at the root of the folder, and it will be the home page. So I create this page. Good. So now my page is totally empty. There is no header, no footer. There is nothing in it. I click on add block, and you can see here that you have only one component, one editable component, and so you can change the text here, and basically you can change this is a simple component with a title and some text, and what we would like to have is all the free Flowbite blocks. So in order to do that, I go to the Suncel documentation, and you can see that here in getting started you have a Suncel UI page, and in this page you can just run this command line, and that's what we are going to do. So it's installing the package. Then once we have done that, we have to go in Suncel menu blocks. Well, now in my menu blocks file, I will just have to add Flowbite blocks here and import it, and I should be fine. Okay, so let's npm and run dev. I go back to my local host here, and then when I click on add block, very cool, you see that you have now a list of components, and that are the Flowbite component. Okay, so you have hero, you have a feature, you have call to action sections, you have pricing table, you have content section, you have social proof, team, FAQ, testimonial, and blog section. Okay, so what we are doing now is we are going to create our home page, and just with few components, and we will see how they are editable. So let's select the first one. So here you see that we have now this component in our builder, and actually in the right side you can see that there is here announcement, call to action, featured images, and for example you can change this checkbox, and then you will see that this announcement disappear. So you can change the text here. You can add a link on it in order for the visitor to click on the link. So you can change the title and so on and so forth. And then you can as well change the call to action. So I can trash the call to action. I can trash as well this one. I will add this one. Watch the video. And then here you have featured images that you can change as well. So you can delete it if you want. You can change the picture if you want. So you have to add a new picture here. You have to take care of the format of the picture. And then you have to respect a ratio for this picture. But you understood how this kind of block is working. You define the block, and you have inside this block editable fields. So here we have the title, we have the text here, we have buttons that are editable, you have pictures here, and here actually you have repeatable elements. So you can repeat these pictures a certain number of times, and for example here you can have maximum 8 pictures. So actually you define that in the code. It can be 10, 20, no matter, but you define everything in the block. Let's add a new one, for example feature. Okay, so here we have our feature. So you can see that you can, so here for example there is no limit, so you can add other features, and you have to give it a text here and here, a title, and you can see as well that if you want to add let's say bold or italic, you can do it. There is a small rich text here. We have a rich text that is more complete actually and customizable, so you can adjust on if you have a rich text where you only want bold or italic or anything you want, you can limit this rich text, but we'll see later that the rich text is more complete than that. So I trash all those features. Okay, so you can save of course the page you are working on in order to avoid to lose all the work you have done. Call to action section, so let's add this one. So this one is cool because actually Flowbite manage the dark mode and the light mode. So if I switch my let's try it. Good, we are here in the dark mode, so you see that the component is adjusting according to the dark mode or light mode, and that's very cool. And actually here so there is default picture for this component, but you can take if you want to change these pictures, you can take an image for the light mode and an image for the dark mode. And if you have only one picture in this component, you can just add the image for the light mode, and it will take the same for the dark mode. So the second one is kind of optional picture. So here you can change the title, you can change the text, you can change the text on the button. So this is fully customizable. Let's say that after the pricing table, we will add it in a pricing page. So let's say that we want to add this kind of blocks. Okay, so there is a problem here. Actually, the actual block on Flowbite is not exactly the same, and you can have problem with the with your tailwind configuration. And actually, you will check the documentation. Tailwind has to check inside this node module and to see that there is tailwind classes. And so we will go in our tailwind config file, and here we will add this line, and I think we should be good. Okay, well, that was problem just the screen size, but I think now it's okay. But you have to do this. You have to do this as well. You have to tailwind to check this this folder because there is tailwind classes inside this package. So now let's say we want to change this picture. So we go to Unsplash. We take a picture of nature, for example. Let's say this this one is nice. Okay, we go back here, and we will upload. We will upload this picture, and now it's here. Good. So this section is cool as well because actually you can invert the text and the picture. You see. And sometimes in home pages you can see this kind of section with maybe 2 or 3 sections like that in a row. And actually we can do that by just copying this block. So now we have the block 2 times, and then we will invert the picture and the text, and you can have a cool effect like this. So we leave the same picture and the same text, but you understood what I want to do. Let's say we add this block after that. So you can edit the numbers and the text. You can add other metrics if you want. Let's say that we will add, yeah, we will add this one, the team. Okay. Now we have 4 people in the team, and actually here you see that you have a yellow text. Inside your block component, you can define text or anything you want that will be visible only for the content editor in the Suncel application. And if I save it and I preview a new tab, you will see that here we don't have the yellow text anymore. So that's just an information for the content editor. And you can see that it says add SNS link profile in the right side panel. And if you go here and you see that if you add a link, you then have the icon that is visible. Okay. Good. Can save it. Okay, let's see if we can add another one. Maybe, yeah, testimonial. It's, well, we have FAQ. So this is always the same. You can have repeatable element here, and you can add this element in the right side panel. Let's say I want to add another block. It will be testimonial. Yeah, and we are good. Okay, so our home page is ready. Actually, we don't have a header or footer, but we will see that at the end of the video. So now I can publish my page. And if I go to my localhost, you remember we had a 404 page, but now it won't be the case anymore. So let's load it. And then we have our page here. Wonderful. Good. So now I go back to my admin, and what I want to do is to create a simple pricing page. I create it. I go to pricing, and I add a block with the pricing. Where is it? Pricing table here. Okay, good. So here it's the same. You see that you can change the title for your plan. You can change the price. So let's say it will be this price. And you see that you can change the classes inside your custom rich text, because here that's not a simple bold, but the bold is also changing the font size. Okay. And here you have another rich text with other elements in this rich text option. And so you can see that here we have a list, and then you can have a list that has this effect here. And of course you can change the text on the button, and you can change the link here. You can add offer. If you have, for example, 6 offers, you will have these offers here. And of course the responsive is perfect. Good. So let's keep only 3. And here we are good. I save this page. And when you save a page and you publish the page, it's live. I mean, you don't have to wait. It's live in production. So here I'm working on my localhost, but actually once you define all the blocks, you then work in production to edit your content. So the content editors have to work in production, and then they can just save and publish, and you don't have to redeploy the entire application, and the content is live immediately. Well, let's go and let's say we create now last page, and it will be an article. Okay, and let's say that I want a folder which is blog, and inside this folder we will have our article page. So I create a folder, and now I have to put my article page in this folder. So I edit the page and I say parent folder is blog. And so now our article page is in the blog folder, and you can see that you can add as well tags. So let's say that it's about nature, I don't know. So I now have a tag. The tags are just to help you to find your content, or to make it a bit more clear if you have a lot of pages in this folder. So let's go here. I had a block, and here I can add this block by default too. So we have Gzileos here, but actually you can change the text, and you can as well take the user you have defined in your Suncel application. So here you remember I'm the only one in this application, so that's here in the user, and you can, so you will have to select all the user in your application, but actually you can change the name in here if you want. You can change the job as well, so that's totally editable. You can change the text here, and now you will see that you have, so here it's a rich text, so you have a picture and a rich text. So let's say you want to add the picture, so we can take the lion we just take before. That's a nice picture, and then we will add the rich text, and so we just copy this text, and actually here we will have title h1, title h2, title h3, h1, h2, h3. You can have bold, you can have a list. Oops, list with bullet points. It can be an ordered list, another list. You can have a quote as well. So actually you can have this this rich text fully customizable. That's really cool. And then you can add links as well. So let's say that we want to make links on our home page, on the pricing page, on Flowbite, for example. So that's an internal link in here. So I click on link, I click on select page, home page, and now the link is done. And that's a Next.js link. Well, pricing you understood, but let's say that we have to, let's say that we want to make an internal link inside the page, so an anchor, internal link. Okay, so let's say here is h2 and my content, and then we call it inside page link. And actually here you have to say that select page anchor, internal link, beam, add link, and it will redirect to this section. Okay, so that's very easy to do internal link inside your page, because each time you write an h2, h1, h2, h3, h4, it will generate a unique ID, and then you will be able to link to this ID. So that's very powerful, and it's very easy to link everything in your page and in internal page in the CMS. And then if you want to do an external link, so let's say we just want to redirect to the pro version here. Well, I can open in a new tab. That's the target blank. You can as well have, so here, the rel attribute, you can say that you want no follow, no pinner, no referrer, for example, and you just add a link. Okay, and if you want to remove a link, you just have to click on remove a link here. So that's very easy, very powerful. You save a lot of time when editing content with this CMS, and then you are able to produce a lot of content very easily, because you can just save and publish, and now that's done. But I want to talk about something very important as well on this kind of pages, article pages, is that here you will find the SEO module. And in this SEO module, you will be able to fill in very easily all the important metadata for your SEO. So the title, the meta OG, Facebook, Twitter, You have as well schema. You can have FAQ schema, for example, where you can add question. And actually, you can do that very easily. And let's say that I just want the same title that I have in my page. So it will automatically take the H1 title. And here it will find the first paragraph you will find, but you can actually put what you want. Okay, and you can have, let's say we have a keyword here. I don't know what to put, but you understood. And then once you have done that, you can push the button same as general, and it will take the same, and you can add a picture as well. And then for the Twitter OG meta, Open Graph meta, you will be able to click on same as Facebook, and it will take the same picture as well. Okay, and so here it will automatically fill your Twitter account if you have defined it in your settings in the app. So that's here. Okay, you can define a lot of social networks links, and then when you edit your page, it will be automatically filled in here. Okay. So your schema, you understood that here, if I want an article, so that's the structured data. So that's very powerful for e-commerce website, for example, or even for article page. If you have if you're working on your SEO on your website, this kind of metadata is very important. And usually on other CMS, it's quite painful to install. There is no SEO module, and this kind of module will accelerate the way you can add all your meta information in your page. And then you can as well define information that you will find in the sitemap. So the priority, the frequency, and so on and so forth. You can say that you don't want this page to be indexed by Google, and you have other kind of option. And that's very cool because actually you can customize everything on your page in this SEO module. That is very powerful. So I save my page, I publish my page. Okay, so we have now our page, we have now our 3 pages, and actually what is missing here is the header and the footer. So we will do that in a moment, but I just want to explain you the concept of the Suncel blocks. So here you will see that you have Suncel and blocks here, and if I click on this component, so you will have our component here. So this component is the one we saw in this page. So that was the first one, this one, while you have a title and a text here. Okay, and actually you just have a div, and then you have your title. So that's a rich text, and you have as well the subtitle. That's a rich text too. And actually you won't see all the blocks in your code here because it's in the Suncel UI package, the Flowbite blocks. But you can go to the GitHub because this is an open source repo. You go to source Flowbite. I zoom a little bit. Flow blocks, and here, for example, if you go to FAQ, you can see that you have your block here with the text. You have a mapping on text as well. Here you have a text component. So this is a Suncel component, and at the end it's an editable field, an editable text field. Okay, and you can have rich text as well. And in this rich text, you can say, okay, I have my allowed featured, which will be only bold, italic, and so forth. And that's the way you define editable fields. So that's very easy. And once you've done that, you can as well, so you have here schema where you can define your default properties for the elements, because they can have a default text, for example, or default picture. And so that's here. You have the default values, and then you can say that in the right side editor you want to see stuff, and actually you define what you want to see in the right sidebar here. So here we say we want to see a repeatable element for the FAQ, and in this repeatable element we will have each time a text and a rich text, but here we don't want to display them in the right side panel. We just want to have button to add repeatable element or to trash repeatable element. Okay, and the repeatable elements are questions in the FAQ. Okay, so now what I want to do is to add a global. And I want to add a global to add a header and to add a footer. Okay, so the globals are here. So that's like a mini database, and you have to create a global and say, I want this global to have this data structure. So we give him a schema, and we have to define this schema. And then once we have this schema, we will have an interface here with all the fields that are matching to this schema. And once we've done that, we will be able to add data in our footer or our header. This data will be the links we want on the header and the footer, the label and the links, and then it will we will inject all this data in our header and our footer. So we will do how to do that now. So let's go to our documentation, and actually here we are going to check how to create a global, and we have an example here. And in this example, we just have a repeatable element with inside a label and a link. So that's exactly what we want. Why? Because here, if I go back to my blocks, so I will take, let's say, a footer. So let's say I want to take this footer. I will copy the code. I will go to my components here, layout. I will create a new file that will be footer index.ts6. And now I have to create a component. So in order to go a bit faster, I just created this component before here, and I will do the same for the header. And I will replace here. Okay, good. And so now I want to copy this code. I will go to my footer. I will replace that by gx6. Good, and let's do the same. So that was the header or the footer? That was the footer. And now we are doing the same for the header. Let's say we want to take the first one. We take the code, we go here, we replace this by this, that's okay. Okay, good. So we don't have the header and the footer in our page, and that's normal. And why? Because we have to add this header and this footer in here. Footer here. Okay. We imported it. And that's good. Let's reload our page. And wonderful, we now have our header and our footer in every page. So the home page as well. Okay, good. So now let's say that we want, so here, the header and the footer, you can put the links directly in the code we just made for the header or the footer. But the problem with that is that's not editable by the content editor. So well, the header and the footer are not changing so often on a website, so that's not a big problem, because maybe sometimes a developer can change them. But if you want to give more flexibility to the content editor, you can then define globals, and in the globals you will give your data, you will send the data to your header or your footer. Okay, so now how to do that? So we go here in our documentation, and actually we have an example of the kind of schema, an example of schema. And actually that's a good example for us, because what I want to do now is to make this footer editable. So we will do it only for the footer, because it will be the same for the header. And here actually in my footer I have some labels and with links on each label. You can have more complex footer with columns, for example, and then you have to adjust to adapt your schema. And for example, your repeatable elements inside your schema, it won't be only a link and a label, but you can have a column that is a repeatable element, and inside this column you will have a title and a list of links. So that's exactly the kind of footer we have. So let's say that we go back here and we check the footer here. So you see that in Flowbite you have this kind of footer, and actually here you have a column with a title here and links. So you can, here we have 2 links, but we can have 5, 10 links, and you can manage that with an adapted schema, and then you can fill all the links you want in the globals, and we will see that in just now. Let's go. So here actually you see that in Suncel you have global schema. Here we have index announce bar, and let's say that we will create a new one which is footer. Let's call it footer. So here I call footer list schema. I call it here footer list. So this is the slug footer, and here so we have a repeatable element which is links. It has the slug links, and inside we have label and links. Okay, I save it. Once I've done that, I have to add this schema to my page here, my index page here. I import it. Okay, so why I have to add it here? Because once you are in your app here, so you see that actually we have Suncel component here that wrap the entire application, and in the props here we send the global schema. Okay, and then we use this schema in the globals. So let's go back, sorry, here in the globals, and let's say that we want to create a new global, and this global is footer. I create it. Oops, sorry. I just forgot what is important, and what is important is to add the global type. So there is a problem here because we don't see the global type we just defined, and I know why. We have to stop the application and to rebuild it. npm run dev. Okay, and now we have footer list. So we call it footer, and then here it will generate an interface depending on the schema you just defined it. Okay, so you can have very complex stuff actually here, but here we just defined a simple schema with repeatable elements, and each element has a label and a link. And so I just add a link here, and inside this link I have a label and a link. So let's say we want to have the home page with this link. We add a new link with the pricing page, and we have the last one, which is the blog. Well, let's say article, and it will redirect to article blog. Okay, I save it. Good. But now I have to send this data to my footer. So how to do that? Let's go. So first, I go back to my documentation, to globals in here. Okay, and you can see that you have to, so it's here. So we will define here our footer, our data footer, and then we will, so let's do it now in the slug file. Okay. So I have to import this function. So this function is a Suncel function, and it will get the data from the global. And so this data will be footer. And actually we have to replace here the ID by the ID we just have here. Copy ID. So I copy this ID, and then I will send the, so here it will fetch this this data from the Suncel API through the getGlobal function, and I have to send this data to our props here and inject them in our footer component. So I have to create the props for that. So here, let's say that we send the footer with footer, or so that will be an array. So here actually, if you console log footer, you will see that you have footer, content, and links, and inside links you have your array of label and URL and links. So let's say we want to send in the props footer.content, and then here we have to say that we have props in our component footer component. So let's go inside. So in order to simplify a little bit, I will just trash everything here, and then we will map on this list after we get the props. So let's define our footer props, and inside those props we have a menu, and inside this menu we have a label which is a string, and we have a link which has the link type. I import this link type, and actually the menu is an array, and we are good, and we can extend our component with this type, and then we will pass the props here, menu. And what we have to do now is to map on here. And so we will have ID. I just copy that. And actually here I have to add the key, and we should be good. We should be good, but we are not good, since we have to add here the values. So that's e.label. and in here and here we will have e.link. Well, it will be a link component. We take it from the link component from Suncel. And actually it's complaining again. Why? Because yeah, it has to take this value. And now we should be good. Okay, so let's go back in our Visual Builder. Okay, the problem comes from here. And now we're good. So let's go and check our footer. Okay, so here if we console log, so inside the footer here, this one, we have content, links. So here we have to have props and footer. It's the problem. And link, so I'm not sure if it's link or links. Let's check it. Okay, so you have to take this slug. So this is links. And we go back in slug and we take links. I save. I reload, I refresh. And that's good. We have everything here. And let's say that we want to add a new one in the globals. We add, for example, let's say a theme page. I save it. I go back to my page, home page. And here we can see that we have theme. And so let's preview. Here you can see that if you go to the pricing page, you click, that's here, the article page, that's here. And I want, so let's test this in link as well, and you see it's working. And so I won't click on themes since we don't have any page. And that's it. So our website is ready and we can now deploy it on Vercel. And in order to do that, I have to create a GitHub repo. So I skip this step and then we will deploy it on Vercel. Okay, so I just create my GitHub repo and now I will deploy on Vercel. So you need a Vercel account and then they have a very cool CLI and you just have to type Vercel --prod. I want to set up and deploy this project. Yes. No. So actually I created a previous project, but this is not this one. Yes. No. What's your project name? Flowbite demo with Suncel. And let's create it. Okay, so it's deploying. And now, so we will be able to access our website through a public URL. And we will be able to access the admin as well through this URL. And then we will be able to change the content in production. So that's very cool. And then we just have to wait that Vercel build and deploy everything. And we will have statics page. So we are now on Vercel. And actually it's deploying. So you can see that it's deploying here. So we can go to our project settings and copy and paste our variables here in here. So we have these two environment variables, copy and paste, I save, and that's good. So now it's in production. And then we can access our website here. And then you just have to plug it to your domain name with the DNS. So you can just go to your domain name provider. And then if you want to define a domain here, you can just type your domain, you add it, and then Vercel will give you the DNS, the CNAME, and the text values that you have to input in your domain name provider, and then you just have to wait a little bit and your website will be ready and accessible to the world. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to join the Flowbite Discord. There is a large community. You can join as well the Suncel Discord. You will find some help if you need to integrate your own blocks and make them editable. Of course, if you want to create an account on the Suncel CMS, it's totally free. There is a free plan, and then you can, like we just saw, import the Flowbite package with all the free blocks provided by Flowbite, and then make them editable and build your own website. So that's very easy. Feel free to make your own website and then to post the result in the comments of this video. Thank you. Bye-bye.